Can I do this without glasses on?
Yes.
I'm actually wearing glasses
You're
today.
not supposed to do glasses. Because it'll knock them off you.
Home Depot.
Okay, Home Depot, let's go.
All right, so I'm redoing this little piece in the back corner of my garage. And
Making it into like a shop or like...
It's just going to be like a better background in some of my videos.
Oh, gotcha. You're doing like a good little, like a...
It's not a studio, but you know, I'm trying to make it nicer. So anyway,
That way it's not an unfinished garage.
Yeah, exactly. Well, at least the walls are painted and textured. But anyway, I put up plywood and then I put like wood flooring on it as a background.
Yeah.
So it's actually pretty cool looking. But I have an outlet and I need to extend the outlet past the depth of the plywood. And so I go to Home Depot and I'm looking for like some sort of box extension thing. And I'm talking to this guy in the Home Depot section and he's like handing me random stuff that is not right? And then I see this guy in like an
Does that annoy you when people do that? When you know what you're looking for, but they give you something?
Well,
because that annoys Derek.
I actually asked for help in this case. I saw a guy in like an electrician outfit and he's listening to me because he's shopping like right next to us. And while I'm talking and describing my problem, he low-key slips me the part that I need in front of the Home Depot person. And I felt
I love Home Depot though.
I felt so bad because I was like, oh, look at this. Like I had to like play it off as if like I found it or something. But anyway.
Here, sir, I accidentally stumbled upon this. You know, it's like that at the hair care stores. 90% of people that work at Sally's aren't actually a hairdresser. And I tell people that all the time. They're like, oh, they're a hairdresser. No, they're not. That same thing in there. It's me working at Home Depot.
Yeah, so you're
like,
way more helpful.
Like
you just okay, so you can imagine a scenario where you like low key slip someone a product while they're talking to the person who works there.
I've done it before where somebody was like, I remember some girl came in and she had like ridiculously yellow hair. And she was like, what do I need to do? And this woman was like, oh, let's use this pink toner. And I'm like,
perfect.
It's not gonna, no. And like the lady walked off because she was looking for something. And I told the woman, I was like, that's not a real hairdresser. You know that, right? And she's like, no, I didn't know that. I'm like, your hair's gonna be pink. Here, use this instead. And handed it to her.
Okay, so you've actually done this.
I've done this before to somebody in Sally's.
Okay.
And I listen sometimes to those women and I'm like, they are freaking idiots. Because literally they're just hiring somebody off the streets. But people think, oh, it's a hair care store. They know what's going on. No, they don't.
Okay, so this story ends with the Home Depot guy being like, oh yeah, that would work. And I look over at the guy in the real electrician, and he's like giving me this thumbs up over around the corner. He's giving me a thumbs up like, I got you. Anyway.
There's always people in Home Depot like that. I think we ran into some guy one time when we were trying to figure out what we wanted to do on our deck because we didn't want it to be slippery. We were talking about the grit and this and that, and then this guy leans over and he's like, so I do that kind of stuff? And he was kind of telling us what we needed to buy. And the Home Depot guy had no clue, you know? I mean, he had no clue what was going on. He's like, here's these pamphlets.
Read a pamphlet.
Yeah.
So are you a Halloween decoration person?
Yeah, we do stuff, but we like to do our own kind of stuff. Does that make sense? Like, I don't go and buy stuff. We like to, like this year we did a graveyard. And so
You've already got stuff up.
We just did it over the weekend. We did it over the weekend on Sunday, but I did like graveyard and I did like the styrofoam and then me and Lainey wrote on it and paint and let it drip, right? And then we did, around the graveyard and lights,
Holy cow.
you know? So, but we like to do stuff like that.
We did a little bit.
We like to do that stuff instead of buying stuff. It's fun. You know, Lainey enjoys doing it. It's an arts and crafts thing, so she loves it. And then Derek's going to do, the front of our house has an opening and an opening and another opening, and he wants to do, and then there's 2 windows above it. He wants to line those and then line it so it looks like teeth. He's been wanting to do that for years, but never gotten around to doing it, and so he bought all the stuff on Sunday.
So it's going down.
Yeah, so it's his dream of making the front of our house look like a monster is coming to life, so. But that's why I want to talk about those stupid skeletons, man. It's like such a status symbol this year. You know, for the longest time you couldn't find them anywhere, and now everybody's getting them, right? One guy has 4 of them in his yard. And then he posted on our Facebook page, he was like, don't forget to get an alarm for him, and you have to get the proper things. Like, but he wanted everybody to know he had 4. That's what he wanted everybody to know.
Did you say alarms?
Yes, you have to get alarms for them because people steal them, right? And I'm like, so is this the new status symbol like G-Wagons were for a little while? Like, You're not cool unless you have the big, skeleton.
So you're a poor unless you have a 6.
100%. I'm poor. I'm not spending $300 on that stupid ass skeleton.
They're
And where are you gonna store that
$300?
thing? Yes, and they're huge. Like, where are you gonna store that? I'm not getting that thing in my attic. Like, where do these people store this stuff? Are they buying a special
Buy a new
place
one.
to store it? Like,
buy a
I
new
don't
one every
understand
year?
that. That's what I told Derek. Like, some guy also did a pirate ship with those on it. So where is that guy gonna put that pirate ship? Like, not in our neighborhood. This was on social media. But I was like, you've got 12-foot skeletons in the pirate ship. That means that pirate ship is what? Probably 20 feet at least? Like, what are you gonna do? How did you build that? Where did you go? I don't understand it.
Like, I barely have room for my Christmas
Me
decorations.
too. Like, I don't know where these people are storing this stuff. And who, honestly, if you're storing in a storage unit, I just don't
Well, then
know.
you're paying all year to store this $300
to store
skeleton?
a freaking battleship.
Or a pirate
What?
ship?
A pirate ship. You have to look it up, man. This guy went all out with those skeletons with a pirate ship. It's insane. Like,
So, I don't know. Amber used to do, like, fall decorations, but, like, that was actually, like, before we even had kids. Like, she would do, like, the early 2000s bale of hay on the porch type
yeah.
thing, right?
the scarecrow or whatever
Yeah.
on it. Yeah.
But we have, like, since we've had kids, the Halloween decorations are October 27th, some pumpkins show up, and then, like, the weekend before we may punch some holes in it. And now I do kind of try to go elaborate with our pumpkin. Like, I might get some power tools involved
Yeah.
and, like,
Oh
make
no,
a
we
really
go
cool
elaborate with the
pumpkin.
pumpkins.
Yeah.
Like, that's something
The
Derek
pumpkin
did.
carving.
Derek did the guy from Breaking Bad one year. I'll have to send you that
Oh.
picture. He spent all day on that
Yeah, like
pumpkin.
Walter White type?
Yeah, he did Walter White.
Oh.
He spent all day on that pumpkin, man. And I mean, it looked just like Walter White when you lit up. And we kept making fun of him. Like, we were having people over doing it. Like, we had 2 families over carving pumpkins with us. And we kept going, God, Derek, it's taking you forever. And then the sun went down and he lit that thing up. And we were all like, oh,
Worth
man.
it.
Like, I was like, dang, Derek, you did it. He gets all into it. He'll spend hours. He'll spend hours doing it.
Do you post that on Instagram?
I posted a couple.
I
We've
feel
had
like
our
I've seen
pumpkin.
that.
Yeah, we've had our pumpkin competitions for years now. I think this is the first year we're not going to do it, man.
No power tools.
Well, I think Derek's going to he'll still carve a crazy pumpkin, but we're not going to have a competition like we normally do. We're trying to go low key, man. Life's been a little crazy. Just been a little crazy. Have I seen you since Labor Day when I went on my 24-hour extravaganza to another state and ended up in the hospital with a kid that's not mine and then had to come home?
No.
It was pretty crazy.
Wait, that had to have been, like, right before. I was here 4 weeks ago, so
Yeah, so it
has
had to
have
happen
been.
right after I saw you. Okay,
You did
my
what?
friend that passed away, her son and his boys moved to New Mexico, right? And so we've been meaning to go and see him, but he had a girlfriend at the time, and they didn't have anywhere for us to stay. And so we decided, now that they're split up and they have an extra room, we'll go Labor Day weekend. Aiden wanted to take his other best friend, who has, this is the luck I have. Okay, you ready for this story? It's a gasser. I don't know if you're ready. This kid has the worst allergies I've ever seen on a child. I mean, literally, probably worse than you. Easy.
But, like, allergic to, like, the air? Or, like,
I think he needs to be a
peanuts,
bubble
or-
boy. Like, I really think he needs to live in a bubble. When I tell you this story, you
Well,
will
I'm glad you
literally
took
die.
him with you somewhere. That's
So-
awesome of you.
So we leave on a Thursday night, the Thursday before Labor Day, right? I was just gonna take the kids out Friday because they were out Monday and Tuesday, right? And so we leave and we start getting into Amarillo, I don't know, probably around 8:00, and I keep getting alerts that there's a dust storm, right? And I'm like, oh, dust storm, like classic West Texas, right? So we get in, and as we get closer, this kid starts like snotting everywhere in the car, and he's sneezing and like wheezing, and I'm like, how is it even in the car yet, right? Like, and I'm like, God, really is kicking up. We get out, and it's like that dust hit him, and he just died. Like, I'm trying to check in, snot's flowing out of this kid, sneezing everywhere, coughing. I'm like, good God almighty, like, what's going on? So we get upstairs, I call his mom. She's like, give him an extra strength Benadryl, get him to lay down, which kind of sucked because everybody wanted to, like, the
Go
kids
do
wanted
something.
to, yeah, the kids wanted to go downstairs and swim, and like, kids always love a hotel stay, right?
Oh, the
always
hotel
fun.
pool is
Oh,
always,
man.
it doesn't
Always
matter
a
how
big
bad
draw.
it is.
So I give him it. He passes out. I'm like, all right, cool. Maybe he'll be better in the morning. Wake up in the morning. He's about the same. So I give him his allergy meds. I give him I should have known also when his mom sent a med pack with him. That's a bad sign, right? Like, if you got a literal crossbody med pack, like, red flags, right? So we start driving into New Mexico.
Like, oh, never mind. You can't
I
go
should have
with
turned
me.
around, man. We start driving to New Mexico, and I probably get just over the New Mexico border before I stop to go to the bathroom. And it's real windy. You know, it's West Texas / New Mexico, right? That wind blows in the car. I go inside. By the time I come out, it's like that kid died. Like, his eyes are swelling. He's sneezing. I'm like, how does this even happen to a human being this fast? Like, right? So as we get further into New Mexico and we get close to the house, man, he is just dying. His face is swelling. He's sneezing
And he's not
everywhere.
having any fun.
No,
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
he
miserable.
looks miserable, right? So we get up to the cabin. I call his mom. She's like, give him another extra strength Benadryl. I don't know how this kid lives on Benadryl. Like, he lives on Benadryl.
That makes me a zombie.
It makes me, and he's functional. He's functional. That's how bad his allergies are. So we get him inside the cabin and like lay him down. We give him the Benadryl. I mean, he's just miserable, right? And so we decide we were gonna go hiking. We decided to go hiking on his land because he owns like 20 acres, right? So we go hiking. I kept kind of checking in with him. Man, it spiraled out of control so fast. By dinner time, we went hiking. I came back. He was asleep. He was fine. Dinner time, we start cooking. He comes downstairs. And you know, like the people that eat are like a bee. Like, I mean, he is swollen like he ate peanuts or like he got stung by a bee. And he comes on the corner and I'm like, sweet Jesus. Like,
We're
what do
going
you
to
do?
the hospital.
Oh my, we're going, right? So I call his mom first and she's like, get him in the shower and see if you can, you know, rinse him off. Like, you know, see if maybe just the pollen on him is causing that. Then like we're in the shower, I have him in the shower and she's like, I'm going to get a nurse to call, you know, whatever. And mind you this also, his parents have never been to the mountains. She does not know that mountain towns die at sunset, right? Like nothing's open, no restaurants. It's not like they have a local, a local CVS and a mini clinic, like nothing, right? So this nurse calls me and he gets out of the shower and I'm answering all these questions. I've also never dealt with a kid with asthma. I didn't know he had asthma out of all the years he's been in my house. I've never seen him with an inhaler. So she's like asking him questions and she's like, does your chest feel tight? And he's like, yeah. She's like, you need to call 911 right now. Mind you this, we're at the top of a mountain. Like, you almost have to have a Jeep or like a 4-wheel drive to get up the last hill where he lives, right? I'm like, ma'am, we're on a mountain. She's like, well, all I can tell you is he needs to go to the ER. And I'm like, well, we have a nebulizer. Can we do that? Like, she's just shut down at this point, right? So here I am at 7:00. It's elk season, right? Like opening elk day. We're going in. This is where this just flies out of control. We got to drive into Taos, right? Because we're in Angel Fire. Taos is an hour and a half away. They're doing construction on the pass also. So it's going to take me an extra 30 while I got to wait for the pace car to take us in, right? I'm like, oh, I can't, right? So he's in the backseat crying, wheezing. I'm trying to calm him down. Lainey's crying.
Did you take the whole family or just you two?
No, it was Aiden, Lainey, and then Aiden's best friend. Derek stayed behind because he was dealing with his mom's stuff, right? So Lainey stayed with me. Aiden stayed back at the cabin. I was like, at this point, I knew we were leaving. I was like, at least try and spend some time with your friend, dude, you know?
Right.
So we get into the, Taos at 9:00. Which, by the way, apparently Taos has a huge drug problem. I found out being in the hospital with 2 kids. Everybody's overdosing in different rooms. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? I'm trying to, shut the doors. A girl's crawling down the hallway, scratching her face off. How does this stuff happen to me, right? I'm like, look at Bluey on the television while I'm shutting the door. Don't look at the girl freaking out in the hallway. So they do the
Don't
same
do
thing.
drugs, kids.
Yeah, that was a perfect example of this is what you don't want to be in life right here on the floor.
Gosh.
So we get out at midnight. I try and find a hotel. Every hotel's booked. It's Labor Day weekend, opening elk season. There's also a national Rubik's Cube competition in town. What? How do I get so lucky with this? 5th motel we roll into.
At least there's no Rubik's Cube's injuries at
right?
the hospital.
God, could you imagine somebody gets their finger stuck and it breaks off or something? So we find this hotel, and this is just icing on the cake when we get to the hotel. We get to the hotel, and I walk in, and the guy's like, how do I put this without being, he's a classic person who likes to partake in things that are herbal. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Okay.
An herbalist.
Yeah. And I walk up to the thing, and I'm like, hey, do y'all have a room tonight? And he's like, yeah, we got a couple rooms left, man. I'm like, all right, cool, give me one. We go upstairs. I got to use my key. We're all exhausted. Give him extra strength Benadryl. And then they gave him a nebulizer. So he's all, walking down the hallway. The keys don't work. All the way to the 3rd floor, keys don't work. We go back downstairs. I gotta walk up to that guy and I'm like, the keys don't work. And he's like, oh man, well, that's kind of crazy, you know. So we walk back upstairs again.
Never happened before.
Yeah, walk back upstairs again. The keys don't work again. At this point, I'm gonna break the door down. I'm like, I'm just gonna break it. They can fix it later. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. I just want to go to sleep. I know we're leaving in the morning because this kid's dying.
A matter of hours.
The state of New Mexico is literally killing this kid. So I'm jamming the door. I'm shaking it. This woman opens the door with the chain on, sobbing. And I go,
wait, and the door you're trying to open?
yes, there was somebody in the room. Like my worst nightmare came to life. And she goes, what do you want? And I'm like, oh my gosh. I just grabbed the kids and I run. I was afraid we were going to get shot at that point. I would have shot somebody if they're rattling my door in the middle. Like, what?
It's 1 a.m. and you're shaking the door. Okay, but wait, did you have the right room number?
Yes! The guy messed up downstairs because he took partaking in the herbal supplements, I'm pretty sure. I walked down there and I slammed those keys on that table and I said, sir, there is someone that... And he's like, that's so weird. Let me look at the computer. What's on there? And he's like, well, I'll be damned. There is somebody in that room. I'm like, oh, we could have gotten shot, sir. Like, oh my gosh. So finally at like 1:30, we get a room, you know. It was pretty great.
Can you go check it for me, please?
Yeah, I almost wanted him to. We wake up the next morning.
Like, what are the odds this could happen twice to me
Yeah.
on this magical trip?
Exactly. Aiden, like, texts me, I think around 4 a.m. And he's like, where are you? I'm like, we're at a hotel. Derek texts me. I said, well, we're going to see in the morning how he is. I roll that kid over at 6 a.m. swollen. I was like, and we're done here in New Mexico. So that was our 24-hour stint to a state. And I visited a hospital and, you know, a child almost died in my care. That's not mine, you know. And it's real weird when you go to hospitals, too, with kids that aren't yours. Like, they almost think you're, like, sex trafficking or something, right? Like, I remember telling the guy, this isn't my kid. And he's, like, asking him all kinds of questions. Like, are you in a safe space? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, and it's almost like Lainey's with me. And she's like, why are they asking all these questions? And I'm like, well, you know, it's just safety precautions. Like, it was so odd. I've never been to a hospital with a kid that's not mine, you know. I had to get his mom to, like
he's clearly... Like, something is clearly wrong
he's
with
dying,
him.
yes.
We're here for a very specific reason.
When the doctor walked in and saw him, he's like, oh, man, he really is having a reaction to the state. And I'm like, yeah, he is. He's dying. And I'm like, hey, remember when we went to New Mexico and he almost died? Remember that? That was a fun time.
That was only like a month ago.
I pick him up, like, every day from school. And we, like, razz about it because, oh, my gosh. It's always, like, my worst nightmare at a hotel, too, is that. Like, somebody in the middle of the night, or, like, it's always been my fear, too, when they hand you your keys, like, what if it's the wrong room? You know? That's always been a fear. And it happened, of course, to me.
And it happened to you on a magical trip.
On a magical trip to a state that I visited for a hot second. We now know Beth cannot visit mountain areas. He will die. So,
Do not take him.
his mom was like, it was kind of an experiment. We've never really been to the mountains, so I'm like, cool, I'm glad that I was the experiment, right?
Don't go. Don't do that. Yeah, don't do that.
I've never seen anything like that in my entire life of allergies, of anybody that I've known. Like, I've seen somebody come in and they're kind of swollen. Not that fast. Like, it was like a bee sting or like somebody ate peanuts. Like, I mean, face swelling.
Violet from Willy Wonka.
Oh my gosh, it was so crazy. I've never witnessed something like that ever in my life.
All right. See you in 4 weeks.
Do we have a book ready?